can't just play.
Good morning, everybody. It is your boy, Chase. CR Media, as y'all may know me, and we're here for another edition of the Sunday Morning Drive. I feel like this is kind of the official one being kicked off because this is the first of the season. Like I said, my name is Chase, CR Media. My good friend here, Brett. How are you doing this morning, Brett?
I'm doing good. How are you doing today, Chase?
I'll tell you what, I'm a little slow getting up, Brett. I am excited for some NFL football. Although my team has already played, any type of football I'll watch. With that being said, I would be in a lot better mood. Won a little bit of cash on the Texas Alabama game last night. So I was super happy about that. But then I lost that plus a little more on Izzy and Strickland. So it is what it is. So it's a give and take business, my friend. Um, but we'll kind of get into that and talk about that as much as we can. We've got Key Williams in the chat on Facebook. Appreciate that. Um, Gene says tap in, y'all. Appreciate you guys. Key Williams says, Brett, is that an Eagles jersey?
It
It
is. It's the
is.
only Eagles jersey I own. It's a Dante Stallworth jersey.
There you go. There you go. And then down goes Bama. Yes, absolutely. Anybody in the chat watching the show, guys, we appreciate it so much as a way of saying thank you and supporting the Sports Empire Network. Guys, you'll see at the bottom here, there's a promo code. It's very simple. It's SEN for Sports Empire Network. You take that to SeatGeek.com. You're going to get $20 off your first purchase. Like I said, that's just a token of our appreciation to say thank you for doing what y'all are doing. And that's sharing, supporting in any way you can. Jim, appreciate you jumping in the chat as well, sir. So, Brett, you know, Chris has been kind of taking over this show. I was hosting it last year. This year it's a little bit different. Chris has kind of has some sports topics. I know that was kind of like in the off season and in preseason goes. We're gonna do it a little bit differently this morning. Then maybe we find a way to incorporate how Chris was doing it because I loved how Chris was doing it. But this week, we're going to talk about the Thursday night game, and then we're going to just kind of do the same thing we did last year, just kind of go down the line and talk about the games and give our predictions one by one and, have a little bit of fun with it, okay?
Sounds like a plan. Let's do it.
All right. First, Matt Stockdale says Chase is the GOAT of podcast. You're goddamn right. I got that Heisenberg say my name. So let's talk about Thursday night. The Detroit Lions came into Arrowhead Stadium and defeated the defending Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs, 21-20. Brett, kind of talk to me about your reaction to that game.
Well, it was going to be hard for the Chiefs to win when the Lions' 12th man, Kadarius Toney, was showing out. Overall, I actually thought the Chiefs played a really, really good game outside of the disaster class that was the wide receiver room, especially in the second half. Mahomes looked really good. His passes were on the money. They just couldn't hang on to him. I think the only issue I saw with the Chiefs was they couldn't really find a way to get the run game going, but that defense really impressed me. They played really well, especially without Jones, holding the Lions to 14 points. If it wasn't for the drop that led into the pick six, they would have had the win. So overall, and credit to the Lions, Dan Campbell, man, that was impressive though. Like, I'm not trying to take away from the Lions. Listen, from the gutsy call to go for it inside the 20 with Patrick Mahomes on the other side of the field, knowing if you give him the ball there, he's going to score. And just overall, just a gutsy performance by these guys coming into Arrowhead and just knocking off the best team in the NFL. Man, it was impressive. So credit to the Lions, and hopefully the Chiefs wide receivers can bounce back next week.
Absolutely. Marlon Bradley says, "Don't want to hear players not healthy. Win is a win." That is true. But again, without Travis Kelsey, who is your reliable target, now the Chiefs have to answer this question. And Chris and I did a morning show together earlier this week. It might have been on Wednesday. I can't remember if it was Wednesday or Thursday. It was one of the two. And on that day, we talked about we talked about the Chiefs and their keys to victory, um, and what they needed to do to win that game without Travis Kelsey. And to be honest with you, I didn't have an issue, or I didn't have an issue with it. As a Chiefs fan, I'm confident. I was confident in the fact that knowing that Patrick Mahomes can help spread the ball around. But as you said, the drops were a huge issue, not just with Kadarius Toney. I know a lot of people are harping on Kadarius and he's been drugged through the mud the past couple of days, especially by Chiefs fans, about his drops in that game. But he wasn't the only one at fault for those drops, and it was an issue, because it kept them from getting that ball moving down the field. Uh, Not going to take anything away from the Detroit Lions, though. They are a for real team, and Chris and I said this earlier this week. Uh, you know, that the Chiefs, win or lose, this doesn't do anything to the Chiefs. This just lets the Chiefs know that they need to focus more on developing those young wide receivers for Patrick Mahomes, and that's it. This is not a panic button for the Chiefs, but it also solidifies everything we thought about the Detroit Lions going into the season. That Dan Campbell is not just a great motivational speaker, that he can coach a group of guys and get them on the right path. So on next week, but yeah, just wanted to just kind of touch base about this. It's crazy. I don't look too much into QB battles, right? It's always funny to me. Like, obviously as a Chiefs fan, I'm obviously really high on Patrick Mahomes, right? Well, there's always going to be people that come to you and go, "Well, Patrick Mahomes never beat Tom Brady." Well, that's just not how football works, guys. Like, Patrick Mahomes doesn't go one on one with Tom Brady. There's a bunch of other factors that go into that. But I don't pay too much to QB battles. But I saw a comment that Jared Goff has beat Patrick Mahomes in big time games, and has his number. And it wasn't much different here. I think I think it's crazy just because the numbers between the two quarterbacks were very similar. Jared Goff was 22 for 35 for 300 or 253 yards. Patrick Mahomes was 21 for 39 for 226 yards. Jared Goff had one touchdown. Patrick Mahomes had two touchdowns and an interception. So, you talked about the running game. Patrick Mahomes was the highest rusher on the team, and that was something that we knew going into that game, that front seven for the Detroit Lions was pretty damn good. So it's definitely good to see. Like I said, great game to start off with. I was there. I was joining in the festivities, having a blast. But it was definitely a good game to go to. But hey, Brett, this is Sunday morning drive. So we'll start kicking off the the game predictions, if you will. The first game we have, Brett, is the Houston Texans at the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore is a 9.5 point favorite. Talk to me about this game, sir.
So as not high at all, I'm not high at all on Baltimore this year. I think there's a lot of holes on this team. With that being said, I still think they have enough to knock off the Texans, but I don't think they win by 9.5. I think it's a touchdown game. I think the Texans keep this one close. So I got the Ravens, but I think it's only going to be a 7 point game, and I don't think they're going to win by digits.
I Key says this game may be closer than you think, and I was going to agree with you, Brett. You know, the the Ravens are 9.5 point favorites. Um, I I think they might. I think they might cover that. But I think it'll be right there at 10 points. You know what I mean? Like maybe, and I think it'll be closer, and maybe just Baltimore comes away with it. The reason why, and I'm not going to take anything away from Baltimore. I think Baltimore. I think Baltimore's. I like Lamar Jackson. I like the Baltimore Ravens. My thing is that I think that it's going to take Baltimore a few games to mesh, and then once they might start off slow, but I think Baltimore will finish the season strong. But yes, I'm taking the Baltimore Ravens as well. The next game we have is the Cincinnati Bengals at the Cleveland Browns, and I am flabbergasted that Cincinnati is only a 2 point favorite in this game. I understand, Brett, that there's a lot of people out there right now that are riding the Deshaun Watson being back to Houston Texan form. But brother, I'm from Missouri. You know, we call that the show me state. I need Deshaun Watson to show me in the regular season that he is back to Houston Texan form. Otherwise, I'm not buying it. And you've got the Cincinnati Bengals with Joe Cool, Jamar Chase, all the weapons that he has over there, and you know, to say that Cincinnati is only a 2 point favorite is odd to me. So
Yeah, I think the Browns have the weapons to make this game interesting. I think you can keep the offense off the field and control the clock pretty well. You know, you got Nick Chubb, and you can mix in a little play action with Amari Cooper. And on the defensive side, Joe Burrow is dealing with a calf injury. Will he be mobile enough to avoid Miles Garrett? With that being said, though, I still don't think it's enough. I think the Bengals are going to come out on this one. I think Denzel Ward is going to give a Jamar Chase a hard time, but I think T. Higgins is going to go nuts today. So if you have T. Higgins on your fantasy team today, I think you're going to have a great time. And I definitely have the Bengals winning this one. I see them winning it by 10. I think they'll keep it within a touchdown with the Bengals pulling away with a late field goal in the end. So I got the Bengals in this one.
nice, nice. So the next game on the docket is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers go and visit the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota is favored by 4.5 points. Do you like that, Brett? I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I think I think that's a little disrespectful to Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings to only favor them by 4.5 points over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I don't think Tampa Bay is going to be a good football team this year.
No, I think that's disrespectful too. Listen, I think Minnesota will be really good at stopping the run, but it's not like the Vikings are going to run the ball all that much this year. It's going to be all about Jefferson and Jordan Addison and T.J. Hawkinson. Like they're going to be able to push the ball down the field at will, and they're going to beat the Buccaneers. I think this one's going to be the first game I'm going to say that it's not going to be all that close. I think they're going to win by about 13 or 14 because it's going to be up to Baker Mayfield to answer, and he's just not going to be able to do it. So this one, I think it's a little disrespectful. I got Minnesota obliterating the Buccaneers.
I uh, I am so glad that you and I are on the same page on that one, sir. Um, let's talk about the Tennessee Titans going and visiting the New Orleans Saints. Um, New Orleans is favored by 2.5 points over the Tennessee Titans.
Wow. Okay. So this one's this is
I don't know.
interesting.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if Vegas is trying to reel some people in this week, just to get them on the hook to maybe have them lose next week. I'm not sure, man. I'll tell you what. You know, Gene, from Wire to Wire here on Sports Empire. Gene is usually really spot on with some of his bets that I listen to him give out, and I'd like to pick Gene's brain to find out exactly why Vegas has some of these that just seem a little off. I don't know if it's like I said, I don't know if it's a real in tactic to get people in there, but I don't like New Orleans as the 2.5 point favorite. I think that's a little. I know we've got a couple people in the comments. Marlon Bradley is picking the Saints. Key is picking the Saints. I'm going with the Titans here, Brett.
I think this will be a battle. This is going to be one of those games. I think it's going to be an absolute dogfight. I think the Saints are very well equipped. They have a solid front seven to at least try to slow down Derrick Henry, and they have Lattimore for DeAndre Hopkins. On the flip side, I really haven't seen Carr and the connection that he has with Olave, and is Michael Thomas even going to play? Jimmy Graham's 107 at this point. So it's tough for me. This is going to be interesting, and I think the X factor is I just don't know how that New Orleans offense is going to click in Game 1. So I'm going to go with the Titans. I think it's going to be close, but I think the Titans are going to win on a walk-off field goal.
The next game on the docket, we're keeping it in the NFC South here. We've got the Carolina Panthers going and visiting the Atlanta Falcons, and Atlanta is the 3.5 point favorite. Brett, talk to me about who you got in this game.
Oh man, this game is something. We got. I really just want to pick the Panthers flat out because I just don't trust Desmond Ritter. But they did get a new running back this year. Bijan Robinson is should have a huge year as long as they use him properly. You still have Cordell Patterson and Drake London should be good. Maybe they'll accidentally use Kyle Pitts this year. That being said, I really don't trust Desmond Ritter to get them a win. So I'm going to pick Carolina, and I'm going to pick it straight up based on the quarterback play.
I like it, man. I was gonna go with Carolina as well, but you got me with they might accidentally use Kyle Pitts.
Dude, they use such a high pick on him, and then they just don't look at his direction at all. He's just there.
I agree. He's definitely not utilized on that team as the way he should be. So speaking of, now we've got the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Indianapolis Colts. Jacksonville is favored by 4.5 points. What says you, Brett?
Yeah, I got Jacksonville in this one. I'm not high on the Colts at all. It's not even just the Jonathan Taylor thing, and I think that's huge because I think you really need a really good running back to support Anthony Richardson in his rookie year. He has the highest ceiling, but as of right now, he's not going to be good enough to carry an offense, so a strong run game would really help. Not to mention, Michael Pittman is not a good number one. He regressed last year. This dude had like 30 more, 20, 25 more targets than the year before and couldn't even crack 1,000 yards. He did not look good last year. Maybe it was an off year. Maybe this is his bounce back year, but I'm not sold on Michael Pittman. So, and on the flip side, Jacksonville, Travis Etienne's a very, very good running back. They have weapons up the wazoo. They got Evan Ingram. We got Calvin Ridley's coming back. So overall, I got Jacksonville. I think this is going to be a 10-point game as well. I think Indy will find a way to keep it interesting, but Jacksonville just wins it at the end.
I agree. And just to kind of create a little bit more conversation here. Besides us just kind of agreeing on the game and moving on, talk to me about this, Brett. Do you think this is a make or break year for Trevor Lawrence?
I think this is a really.
Do you think? Let me rephrase that question. Do you think this is a make or break year from the Jacksonville Jaguars' point of view for Trevor Lawrence? Is this year going to tell the Jacksonville Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence is our guy, or has that decision already been made?
I think I think the decision's probably already been made, but I think actually this is a pretty big year for Trevor Lawrence because we have one elite year from him, and then this first year wasn't ideal, but at the same time, having Urban Meyer as a coach isn't ideal. So
Heard that.
I think that we're looking at a situation where I do want to see another elite year out of Trevor Lawrence, which I think he'll deliver. I don't think we'll have an issue in that regard. So I want to see another year. I'm sure Jacksonville wants to see another year. I'm just so confident in Trevor Lawrence that he'll deliver that I'm not too worried about it.
Absolutely. And the reason why I asked that question is because there's still some people that do want to see another year out of Trevor Lawrence. I don't. I think Trevor Lawrence is a phenomenal talent. I think he's a great quarterback, and I think Doug Peady is the right guy to do it. I There's certain organizations that I feel like I don't have a lot of confidence in. And by saying that, Brett, what I mean is that some of these organizations will bring in a coach, a new quarterback, a new coach, whatever the case is, and watch them for a year and a half, and try and make a decision, a knee jerk reaction. So just wanted to kind of see where you were at as far as, you know, where you think the Jacksonville Jaguars are at on that scale. Do you think that if they don't see success this year, they could potentially decide they want to move on? Maybe not from Trevor Lawrence, but maybe Doug Peady as well. Or are they going to stay the course and trust the process?
Yeah, I think you stay the course. I think he showed obviously Trevor Lawrence has already shown his elite ability, but not only that, in the Chargers game, he showed that he has the mentality of a winner. He has resiliency. He has guts. He looked terrible in that first half. He threw 4 picks, but to bounce back, not only to bounce back, but to come back and win that game, I think you're looking at a situation where you have a guy who has all the tools, and he's already shown that this guy's not going to quit. He's not going to give up. He has a winner's mentality. So I think Trevor Lawrence will be all right, and I think that Doug Peterson's the right coach for the team. He's such a phenomenal coach. You saw it in Philly, and then he comes here, and then he turns it around in Jacksonville after the Urban Meyer disaster. So I don't think either one of them are in danger. He's not a fan of the process.
Yeah. The next game we're going over here is the San Francisco 49ers visiting the Pittsburgh Steelers, and San Francisco is favored by 2 points. Brett, talk to me about your prediction for this game and the San Francisco 49er quarterback position.
Oh man, I'm probably gonna get told I told you so by Mo if this prediction doesn't pan out, but I got the Steelers, and I think they just kicked the ever living crap out of the 49ers. I don't think this one's close.
Really?
I
Uh,
really
I'm going to tell you, Brett. I'll be honest with you, man. I don't hate it, but you're looking at a team with one of the top defenses in the league, and um, prior to the Trey Lance trade, and even a little bit after the Trey Lance trade, the San Francisco 49ers are still a Super Bowl favorite. So
I didn't.
are you pouring gasoline on the San Francisco hype train, my friend?
Oh yeah, listen, and I think the real X factor is you mentioned it earlier. It's the quarterback play. Your quarterback right now is Brock Purdy, who last year he couldn't push the ball down the field. Now he's coming off a torn UCL on his throwing arm. So now I'm sure the Steelers' strategy is going to be beat us deep. They're going to come up. They're going to play them physical. They're going to make sure they cannot get into space. And they're going to make Purdy beat him deep. I don't think he's going to be able to do that. And if something goes wrong with Purdy, apparently you got Steve Young Jr. on the bench coming in to replace him. And unfortunately, shocker, I don't think Sam Darnold has any traits that Steve Young has, and I don't think they're any even close. And I think he gets even worse as Sam Darnold comes into the game. So I think this quarterback room is going to hold them back. I think it's going to be really bad. I think Super Bowl favorite, I think they're going to be fighting for a wild card spot. And I'm not even sure if they make it out of the first round if they don't upgrade their quarterback play.
Man, I don't hate it, Brett. I mean, if we were in church, I'd give you an amen, sir. I love it. So I'm not a 49ers fan, and I feel like the 49ers are extremely overrated. Every single year we have this same conversation. They obviously they went to all right. I'm gonna leave that one alone. The next game, the Arizona Cardinals at the Washington Commanders. Washington is favored by 7 points. I'm going to be honest with you. I I would take the points if you are a gambling man on this game. I would take the points. That's what I would do, because I think Washington is going to beat Arizona by much more than 7 points.
So every year, I pick one random game because week one is always the craziest week. There seems to be a lot of bizarre upsets that nobody expects. I pick one game every year to pick a random upset, and there's no rhyme or reason for me saying this, so I guess don't ask questions. But my gut is telling me this is going to be the upset. I'm going to take Arizona to beat Washington and upset them in week one.
Ugh, don't like that. Don't like that.
I
I
wouldn't bet money on it. By the way, don't
Yeah,
take my advice and bet the money on Arizona.
yeah.
But I have a gut feeling. I think Arizona's going to make this a lot more competitive than we think, and I think they'll pull out a win with Josh Dobbs at quarterback.
That's crazy. Um, what would be your final score on this game, Brett?
I, I think this game would get a. I think this game would be ugly. We're looking at like a 24-21 game. I think the one thing Arizona's got going for them is that Commanders pass rush can get pressure with four, and they're really aggressive. But a lot of the times you watch them, you can use that aggressiveness against them. They're going to be pined in ears after the quarterback. So a draw play, a lot of the times if you run a draw play, it hurts them because they're all so far in the backfield that now you got a free run or just like a lot of screens. So I think you're going to see a lot of quick hitters from the Cardinals this game.
I would, I don't agree with you. But if I wanted to piggyback off of your prediction, I would say because of those reasons, I think this game would be a lot tighter, and a lot low scoring. So I was going to go with like a 13-10 or even like a 14-17 game. I do think it would come down to the wire. But I just Arizona. I made the joke. I made the joke on the morning show, that you know Caleb Williams, his dad had stated that depending on who the number one pick was, that he probably could stay another year. I told him, I said, somebody better tell Caleb Williams' dad that he better tell his baby boy to switch sports, because I think Arizona is going to be the worst team this year, and they may be the worst team next year.
Oh, absolutely. I only got them winning like I looked at their schedule. I think they'll only win like 2 or 3 games this year.
Yeah,
I think they're going to be just brutally awful. So, but yeah, like I said, no rhyme or reason. I think that in the spirit of week one upsets, I'm going to pick Arizona to win one of their games this week.
I like it. I like it. Speaking of just overall bad, this next game, the Las Vegas Raiders travel to Mile High Stadium to take on the Denver Broncos. Denver is favored by 3.5 points. I like it. I do think you're going to get a low scoring game in this one as well. Just because Sean Payton trying to figure out the offense with Russell Wilson and the weapons that they have there. I think that's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, for them. I do think it'll be better than it was last year. Although I don't think it's going to be Denver's saving grace, like a lot of Denver fans do think. But I will go with the Denver Broncos in this one and the points. Vegas Vegas does have a good defense. Mason Crosby, all of the weapons that they have over there. I just don't trust Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback, although it may be different with Josh McDaniels and Jimmy Garoppolo, that familiarity that the two have with each other. Again, low scoring, come down to the wire. I'll take Denver winning by a field goal.
I'll take Denver too. I think it will be low scoring as well. I think what'll keep the Raiders in the game is right now I just do think they have the better offensive weapons considering the Broncos' entire wide receiver room is hurt. And on the flip side, the Raiders, I last time I checked, Devontae Adams is playing today, Hunter Renfrow, and you got Josh Jacobs back. I think they have the weapons to keep this in the game, to keep themselves in the game, and I think they could even win this one. That being said, I don't trust Jimmy Garoppolo, and just overall, the Raiders themselves don't give me a reason to trust them ever. So I'm going to pick Denver, and I think this will be a really low-scoring game.
Next up, sir, we have Philadelphia at New England. And Philadelphia is favored by 3.5 points. What says you, Brett?
I think the Philly wins this one fairly convincingly. I think that New England, Bill Belichick will have that team coached well enough to keep it close for part of the game. I just think there's too much of a talent deficit between these two teams. It's not even a coaching. It's just the Eagles are just way more talented than the Patriots. I think the Patriots' only chance is if the Eagles' run defense regresses and they're able to run all over them and keep that offense off the field. But I don't see it happening. I got the Eagles winning this one. I got them winning it fairly convincingly. And not to mention, I just don't trust any of the Patriots' receiving weapons. I really don't.
I was going to say that I have Philadelphia winning this, and I don't think it's going to be close. I think if Philadelphia will keep a good, or not Philadelphia, I think New England will keep a good pace starting off, but Philadelphia has too many weapons, too many, they're just, Philadelphia is the best well put together team in the NFL. I know it's week one, so until Philadelphia proves otherwise, that's how it is to me. They're good on all three cylinders of the football phase, and I would take them over New England right now. I think it's too early for New England to have upset capabilities, if you will.
Yeah, and I kind of feel bad for Mac Jones. This dude, he wants to earn his next big contract, and they're like, all right, here's Devontae Parker, Kendrick Bourne, and Mike Gillespie. Like, they did not really help him that much. They got him a bunch of number 2s and 3s at receiver. Like, maybe, I think the leading receiver for that team's going to be today, or the tight ends. I think it's going to be Mike Gillespie, if I'm saying his last name right. It's just going to be a lot of checkdowns over the middle, a lot of 5-yard curls and hitches, because I don't think anybody's going to get open, and that pressure is going to come quick. So you're just going to see a lot of short passes all game from the Patriots when they do drop back to pass.
Speaking of Mean Gene, he says Eagles have a great roster, but the Patriots are built to slow them down. 2 tight end sets, 3 yards, and a cloud of dust. That is the Patriot way. I think that obviously Bill Belichick is a great defensive mind, one of the greatest defensive minds in the history of the sport. I just don't think that their defense is built to take care of the Philadelphia Eagles and how explosive they are. Jalen Hurts able to beat you in the air, beat you on the ground. They're just the Eagles' offense is just it's nitty and gritty. It's all of the above. We all like the sexy offenses that they can beat you down the field. We like the nitty and gritty offenses that will, chip at you. The Philadelphia Eagles have all of that. So like I said, I think New England will keep it close to begin with, and then Philadelphia will run away with it. And this is funny, Brett. You've got the Philadelphia Eagles jersey repping, but we know you, man. You're a cheesehead, and Green Bay is at Chicago today, and Chicago is favored by 1.5 points. Brett, talk to me about this, man. What do you think? What do you think is in store for your Green Bay Packers?
Oh yeah. Oh, Packers win by 30 and we're all happy. No, I'm kidding. I, I really hate to say it, but I got Chicago taking this one. I think we're looking at Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs already suffering from injuries in camp. The issue with the Packers is their wide receivers room is not deep at all. So if Watson or Dobbs or any of those top three receivers have to miss time, we're looking at like Samari Torre, Ben, or we have I can hardly name any of the next receivers after him, like Wilson or Malik Heath. Like it's just not a good combination of receivers behind our top three, and with them already dealing with injuries, it's not a good sign. That being said, I'm thinking that I didn't even see that this morning. Christian Watson's out. Yeah, that's not good. But that being said, I still think the Packers have the materials to make this a closer game than we think. I think they have arguably the best running back room in the NFL, or at least top three. I think you're looking at a defense that should be top 10. I think that we're just going to play a lot. We're going to run the ball a lot. We're going to burn the clock down. I think DJ Moore is going to have a rough game. He gets matched up with Jair all game. So it's going to be up to Chase Claypool and the second group of second receivers to beat him. But I just don't think we'll do enough in the air this week to be able to beat the Bears. And I think Justin Fields is going to show why he's going to be not an MVP candidate, but I think he's going to make a massive leap. And I also think the Packers struggle with running quarterbacks. So that's another factor in that.
One of the things that stood out to me about this game was that the Packers are the 26th ranked rushing defense. It's week one. Not looking too much into this, but obviously looking at the games this weekend and deciding where to put my money and deciding what I was going to talk about on this show. The Bears are one of the top ranked rushing offenses. So I will agree. I think with Justin Fields being able to beat you with his legs and being a highly underrated player, I think the Bears get the running game going, and I think that they'll be able to take the W in this one.
So I'm looking forward to seeing Lucas Van Ness though. I'm sure he's only going to get limited snaps this week, but I'm excited to see what he actually does in real game action.
Absolutely. Next on the list, the Miami Dolphins travel to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. The Chargers are favored by 3 points. Brett, who you got winning this game?
I got Miami. I think we're looking at a battle of just really good offenses. I just think Miami's the more explosive offense, but I think the X factor in this game is the Chargers can never field a decent run defense. I think what Miami's going to do is they're going to run the ball down the throats of the Chargers, and I don't think they're going to be able to do much about it. Like guys like Tillery, like they have some solid pass rushing like D tackles, but they're athletic and they don't tend to fare well against the run. So I think Miami's going to win. They're going to run the ball down their throats and they're going to set up play action and take all the deep shots that they want. So I think the Chargers will be good enough to keep themselves in the game, but I got Miami winning this one.
I'm going to disagree. I think it'll be very close. I I'm gonna go with the Chargers. Um, and this is one of the reasons why. Mean Gene says Herbert should have a field day. Dolphins are starting Eli Apple. But yes, the Dolphins secondary. We know Justin Herbert. As long as Justin Herbert has weapons and and his weapons are healthy, Justin Herbert is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. As long as he has the weapons to help him, and if everybody's healthy today and everybody stays healthy, and the defense does their job and locks up Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, or at least slows them down a little bit, I have no issue picking the Chargers. Like I said, I think they're a well-oiled machine, minus their head coach. I think they got the great lot of great talent on that team. I can't say enough great things about the Chargers, other than, you know, if I had to say something negative, it would be I don't like Brandon Staley. So if the Chargers lose this game, if it comes down to a coaching decision, timeout, usage of timeouts or clock management or anything like that, then this game is all but Miami's to win.
I'll
But
say
other than that, I'm picking the Chargers.
what I will say about this game though is if you like high scoring games, I think this is going to be the one for you.
I would agree. I would agree. Next game is the Los Angeles Rams traveling to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. The Los Angeles Rams without Cooper Cup, and Seattle is favored by 5. Brett, talk to me about this game, man. Who you got?
I got Seattle. I just don't think the Rams are going to have enough in the tank. I think their defense might be passable this year. When you have Aaron Donald, you're always going to have constant pressure, so that helps. But I just don't think that offense is going to have enough. Van Jefferson is not a number one receiver. Cam Akers might have a resurgent year, but I'm not going to bet on it. So on the flip side, DK, Geno, I think this Seahawks team overall is just going to be too much for the Rams. Now, granted, what I'm going to say is division games are weird, so I'm not going to predict that it's going to be a blowout. So I feel like it's going to be bizarrely close, but I'm still going to take Seattle.
Agreed. I think Seattle is the better team by miles. Um, but because it's a division game, and this division isn't that good, I could see the Rams keeping it close, but Seattle squeezing it out. Aaron Donald and 9 players drafted in the sixth round or later. Yep. Not a 100, Gene. For the Rams, look out for my boy Puka. I might have said that wrong. My bad. Next game on the docket, Brett. We've got the Dallas Cowboys at the New York Giants. Dallas is favored by 3 points. Again, I'm not exactly sure why, man. I feel like Dallas only being favored by 3 points against the Giants is maybe because it's away for Dallas and it's a divisional game. Um, I, Main Gene agrees. They're super underrated and they should win by a lot more. I think it's absolutely disrespectful. I feel like Freddie did that point line. The Cowboys defense is top 3 in the NFL. I don't know. I don't know what Vegas is looking at on the New York Giants to go. Yeah, I think that they'll keep this game close. Like I said, maybe it's because it's a divisional game, but talk to me about it, man. And who do you got winning this game?
I agree with Gene. I think the Cowboys should win this one fairly easily. And I think the only way you can try to justify a 3 point line is to try to tell yourself, hey, it's a divisional game. So, and it could very well just somehow turn into a dogfight, but I don't think it should. kind of like with the Rams and Seahawks. I think the Seahawks should easily win that, but division games are weird. I'll put that under this category too. I think that the Cowboys should easily win this one, but it's a divisional game. These things get really weird at times. But I got Dallas. They got one of the best defenses in the league. They got a really should have a high octane passing offense. The only question mark is their running back if Tony Pollard can handle a high workload over the course of the season. But overall, I don't think that'll be an issue this game, and I got Dallas winning it. And I'm not really high on the Giants, so I think what'll hold the Dallas back this year is Mike McCarthy, really.
Agreed. With the talent they have on that, um, Key, Key Williams says Danny Pennies. Ty Owens has got the Giants winning. I'm going with the Cowboys, man. Again, just to emphasize, I think the only reason this is close is the divisional game. The Giants have done nothing to show me that that they're ready to take on a team of the caliber of the Cowboys at this time with their defense and all the weapons that they have. With Danny Pennies, as Key Williams said, Saquon Barkley being extremely unhappy. Any normal, Joe Schmo can attest when you're unhappy at your job, you're not going to perform well. That's just how it is. Is it going to drop drastically? I don't know, but you can't tell me that Saquon Barkley is going to play with the same fire that he's played with before, being as unhappy as he is with the New York Giants right now. So,
Hey, don't forget they got their savior Darren half a season Waller.
exactly. Last game, man. The Dallas and New York Giants, of course, are gonna top us off today on Sunday with Sunday Night Football, and then tomorrow night we're gonna watch the Buffalo Bills travel to MetLife to take on the New York Football Jets, and Buffalo is only favored by 2.5 points. Brett, talk to me about this game, about the point differential here, and then also talk to me about what is your expectations of the Buffalo Bills this year?
So for this game, I think it's the Jets. I think they're built really well to slow down the Bills. When it comes to the Bills' offense, the issue I have with the Bills is really it does come down to their offense. You have Stephon Diggs, who apparently 154 targets isn't enough for him. He wants even more. So he just wants their offense to be just the most predictable thing in the NFL. Except if you try to do that today, I think Sauce is really gonna have a field day with Diggs. Not necessarily a field day, but he's going to slow him down. It's going to be hard for him. Now it'll come down to Gabe Davis and what he can do, but I don't think it'll be enough this game. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to move the ball perfectly fine against the Bills' defense. He has a lot of nice weapons. You're looking at Garrett Wilson. He has chemistry with Alan Lazard. If you need to, you can dust off his emotional support boy, Randall Cobb. He has nice chemistry with him. Dalvin Cook, Brees Hall. I just think the Jets have too many weapons, and they have the weapons to slow down the Bills' main weapons. So to me, you got to ask yourself, is Gabe Davis and Dalton Kincaid going to beat you, or Dawson Knox? Gabe Davis showed he can go off. He did it once against the Chiefs. Can he do it again? I don't think it's going to happen, and I don't think it's going to happen this game.
I agree. Gene says Robert Saleh has Josh Allen's number, and Rodgers is going to move the ball. That's one of the things that it's a gigantic question mark going into this game. What are we going to get out of Aaron Rodgers? I think you're going to get a very productive Aaron Rodgers, and with all of the weapons that you mentioned that Aaron Rodgers has, the Buffalo Bills have plateaued, and this offseason, I watched what the Buffalo Bills did, and you can't convince me that the Buffalo Bills did enough in the offseason for me to say, okay, they're finally treading upward again. I think Buffalo's issue is that they've plateaued on weapons for Josh Allen. They've plateaued on their defense. I don't like it. Gene says I like Gabe Davis as a breakout this year on that offense. I love Dalton Kincaid, but not this early in the season. Agreed. Dalton Kincaid is not going to plug in and immediately be a Travis Kelce, a George Kittle, or even a Mark Andrews for you right now. I think his future's bright, but I just don't think he's there right now.
Oh, 100% agree. Normally, tight ends, I don't expect them to really put up any great numbers this year. I like to temper my expectations with tight ends because the learning curve is so steep. And I think
Yes,
another issue with the Bills is they just don't have a reliable running back. I'm not saying they need to have an elite run game, but something reliable to keep defenses honest. You cannot just have Josh Allen being your leading rusher every year. And I know he's built big, he's super athletic. So is Cam Newton. Enough bad hits. All of a sudden, 6 years in, he has a shoulder injury. He's not the same. I don't want to see the same thing happen to Josh Allen. So I think they're just putting too much on his plate because he has to be the leading rusher and make decisions with the football. And it not only might it lead to a bad injury in the future, I think it just hampers his decision making a little bit. He throws a lot of picks, and I think a big reason is you just have a lot on his plate.
agreed. I think that does it, sir. That was, I think we're both in agreement. The Jets are going to beat the Buffalo Bills. I like it, man. I'm excited for the Jets this year. I think I don't know if I favor them to be in the AFC Championship, but I like the direction that they're going. I think it's just going to come down to Aaron Rodgers and what Aaron Rodgers are we going to get? Are we going to get Aaron Rodgers who is too old and probably should retire, or are we going to get Aaron Rodgers who where age is just a number? The Aaron Rodgers, Brett, you're a diehard Packers fan, so you know all about Aaron Rodgers. We're talking about the same guy who is 2 years out of winning the league MVP. It's not like we're talking about somebody who's past his prime. What are your expectations for Brett Favre and the uh, the New York Jets?
So when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, with the New York Jets, I'm really high on him. I'm still really high on Aaron Rodgers. I think the key with him is I don't think he's the same player necessarily he was 2 years ago, even. But at the same time, I still think he can reach close to that level, or maybe even that level. I think the key is he's just got to use the run game this year. I think if Aaron Rodgers uses the run game, plays within the flow of the offense, he probably plays at or near an MVP level. I think the only way Aaron Rodgers struggles is if he's sitting there checking out of every play and making the offense one dimensional and just tries to pass every down and carry the entire offense. So I'm really high on the Jets. I think we're going to get the former. I think he's going to play at MVP or near an MVP level, and I think the Jets are going to have a great year. I made a bold prediction on sideline to sideline. I'm going to stand by it. I think they go 13-3. I think they're going to double down on that prediction. I think they'll sweep the divisional games. So it's. I think they're going to have a really dominant year, especially in the regular season. So I got them winning the division.
Fantastic. Gene wants us to give our Super Bowl predictions before Week 1. He needs to hear our picks before the games are played. What are your Super Bowl predictions, Brett?
Whew, okay, well, NFC, I feel like the only right answer to bet to come out of that would be the Eagles. They're
Agreed.
the best and most complete team in that.
The Eagles are my NFC pick as well.
The AFC, that's a lot tougher. We got a lot of dogs in the fight. I think the Jets could make a good run. The Chiefs could make a good run once everybody's healthy. I'm going to go with Eagles, and I'm going to go with the Bengals. I think the Chiefs wide receivers will. I think Kelsey coming back will definitely help, but I think it'll come down to the playoffs, and I think what'll end up happening is Kelsey will get bracketed. They'll force the wide receivers to beat him, and I just don't think it'll happen. The Jets, I think they'll make a nice run, but I got Joe Shiesty making just doing it this year. I think you're gonna have T Higgins going off. You got T Higgins in a contract year. I think he's gonna go nuts. I think Jamar Chase is just the arguably the best receiver in the league, right up there with Jay Jettas. And you still got Joe Nixon, so I think that offense is just so explosive, and I think the defense will be good enough to supplement that. And I think you're going to get the Eagles and Bengals in the Super Bowl.
So I was gonna purposely shy away from the Chiefs because I didn't want to be a homer. And then I was going to pick Philadelphia and Cincinnati, but you went ahead and got that, and that's fine. So just for the sake of picking something different, I will go Philadelphia. Philadelphia and the Chiefs in a Super Bowl rematch. First time in history it's ever happened. If not that, then I'll go Philadelphia and the Jets.
I'll say I was thinking about this because I always have a little fun. I tried to pick a dark horse to make a Super Bowl run, and my dark horse this year, Jacksonville Jaguars.
I don't hate it.
I
I
say
don't hate it. My
offense.
my best friend is a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, and I know he was watching this show earlier. I know if he's watching right now, he's getting excited and jumping up and down on his couch. So hearing you predict the Jacksonville Jaguars, probably not jumping down up and down on his couch. You know, he's a little. We're both a little old. We don't do much jumping on the couch anymore. But Gene says that's his pick: Eagles versus Chiefs Super Bowl rematch. That's what we want in Philly. Philadelphia doesn't want the easy road. The road to glory comes through the best teams and best players. Agreed. Agreed. Definitely would rather win the Super Bowl in a dogfight than win it off of a roughing the passer penalty, which leads to a field goal. So, don't get me wrong. I very very happy, but I definitely didn't want it to end like that. So, anyways, we we appreciate everybody who joined us this morning, guys. You see the ticker down at the bottom. You know, thank you for supporting Sports Empire Network. We greatly appreciate it. All the likes, the shares, the comments, everybody who interacted with us this morning, from Key to Ty to Gene to Marlon, everybody. I'm sure I forgot people, but I was going to scroll all the way up. But appreciate you guys so much. Like I said, get you $20 off. Go see an NFL game this year. I know tickets are crazy, but definitely want to see it happen. Use promo code SEN to get $20 off at SeatGeek.com. And for myself, Chase, for my co-host this week, Brett Gardy, we appreciate you guys joining us for the Sunday morning drive. Stay tuned to Sports Empire Network. Also, check out Wire to Wire. I know they've got a show on today. We should have a show later on as well. But we appreciate everybody joining with us. And Brett, you got anything before we close out?
No, yeah, you can check out my podcast Guardy 3 on Spotify. I actually just dropped a new episode this week. It's mostly about basketball right now, and I also dropped a new episode on I dropped a video version on YouTube, so go check that out.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, again, guys, we appreciate you joining us. And as always, have a great day.